Hey gang, Ronan here. Welcome on back to the Cade and another episode of Sports Saturday. We are at week 9 of our revisitation and what if scenario. What if we could build the New England Patriots dynasty of the early 2000s into 2020 if Tom Brady never existed? Now, to do this hypothetical what if, we are of course playing Sega Sports NFL 2K2 for the Sega Dreamcast, as when we were trying to figure out what we were going to do for Sports Saturday going forward, it was pointed out to me by a member of the crew that, hey, I went back and checked this game, and do you know Tom Brady's not on it? And I went, light bulb, and here's where we are. Now, before we jump into this week's game, I do have a slight bone to pick with the game itself. And that is, I mentioned at the end of last week, after we trounced the Broncos, as you see, 35-0 over at Mile High, we're at 8-0 in the season. Now, I said from the jump, this was not going to be an attempt to create an undefeated season. We're not going to try and run the table. And if, for some reason, it looked like things were looking a little bit too easy, I was going to be able to go in and try and tweak the game's difficulty. There's a million ways you can do that in all these sports games. You should be able to do it here. Except in this game, in the AI, I can go into management here, and I can check on a million things, but you will notice one of the things that I can't do is I can't change anything as far as the configuration of the game. And I can't hit start and change the configuration of the game. I can't go into any other menu and change the configuration of the game. So it looks like, and I'm going to see if we can check this when we actually get into this week's game, of which we will be taking on the Atlanta Falcons in the Georgia Dome, of all places, not in Mercedes-Benz Stadium, their wonderful new place they have now. We're playing back indoors in the Georgia Dome. But I'm going to see as we get into this week's game if I can tweak the difficulty a little bit in-game. And if so, I'm going to do that. Because we've been playing on standard difficulty. We adjusted nothing. You can go back and watch the original episode. It's up on the channel. We didn't tweak anything when we started this game. And I've honestly expected more of a challenge from the opposing teams as far as their offensive capabilities than what we've created. So, before we jump into this, let's see here. Can I go options? Check the options. Game options. Normal game speed. So the skill level is rookie. That's what it gives you. I'm going to switch it to Pro and see how much of a difference it makes.
Peter, who do you like in this game?
Because if we lose a game, I am not going to be super busted up about it. Now, the thing about this Atlanta Falcons franchise, as it is currently constituted, this was coached by Dan Reeves in what I believe was his final year with the club. Dan Reeves was a famous coach who started out as a player for the Dallas Cowboys. He was, if I remember right, I think a fullback. Won a Super Bowl with Tom Landry and the Cowboys back in the early 70s, became a coach, as a lot of players do, and was most notably known before his time with the Falcons for coaching John Elway at the start of his career with the Denver Broncos. Now, the other thing that we have to bear in mind on this squad is who's the quarterback. They have Chris Chandler, Doug Johnson, and one Michael Vick. Now, say what you will about Michael Vick, your opinions and your disapproval of him as a person, I'm not going to litigate that, nor am I going to dispute. That's not the point of this. We're just simply playing a football game. But as an on-field talent, on that alone, Michael Vick was one of the most electrifying players that I had seen in the early 2000s at any position in the NFL. He could run. He had a cannon for an arm. He was amazing to watch. Now, obviously, everything that befell him was his own damn fault. He's got to live with it. And he's seemingly tried to do his best efforts to at least somewhat atone for it, but I'm not a judge, so I can't tell you one way or the
They
other.
came up empty on that play. You know, you've got to admire a player like that, Peter. He's all field smart.
But also, as a
Absolutely.
running
He saw where
back,
that play
we
was going
have
right from the snap.
Ball on the 38.
Jamal Anderson still on this team. Although he's listed on the reserve list on my official stats for
They pick it up.
this team.
Barely gets it off. It's caught in the flats. Takes the tackle.
Terrence Mathis could have justifiably missed that.
And then you have Terrence Mathis, who just caught that ball as one of the primary receivers, and Sean Jefferson, who was a really good sprint receiver.
Man, I can't even run that good without having to catch anything.
Yeah, I've seen you go pretty fast at dinner time. Ball on the 45.
So it's 3rd and 4. And he dropped it. Threw right to Anderson and couldn't hold on to it.
They really made a statement on that drive, Dan. It's all about getting the mental edge early.
They forced a 4th down situation early in the game and a likely punt. Moore comes in to punt after a
So they will punt it away.
Good punt here.
I'm going to let that roll on into the end zone, and that will be an automatic touchback.
Everybody.
So when these two teams faced each other in real life in Week 8 of the 2001 NFL season, the Patriots came out on top, 24-10. Now here's going to be the interesting bit to see what we can do on offense
Are on the field.
against
We'll see if they can
a
put
slightly
points
better
on the board.
defense.
It's upfield. Upping hammers them out.
We'll pick up 3.
A gain of 3.
Second down, 7 yards to go.
Yeah, we'll try a draw play.
Ball at the 23-yard line.
Looks like they're blitzing as the linebackers are creeping up and in. And sure enough, they met him at the line and didn't have much of a chance on that.
7 yards to go.
Ball on the 23.
All right, so 3rd and 7. This will be the first test of the passing game. It almost picked off as Bledsoe almost got sacked.
Playing some stellar
How he
defense
stayed
today.
up getting
The
that sort of a
defensive
hit, I don't
coordinator couldn't be
know.
happier, Dan.
And when the defensive coordinator is happy, the coach is happy.
Yeah, when the coach is
So we're gonna
happy,
have to
next
punt it
week's
away.
Practices are a lot more pleasant.
Now, the one drawback I'm hoping by amping up the difficulty is that it will not make this game super boring. I still want to be able to score, and I still want to be able to get first downs. I want to move the ball downfield. I want to stop them from doing the same.
77 makes the stop on the return.
The Falcons
Now, in the
have a nice
2001
starting point for this
season,
drive. The special teams gave
and this is
them
to show you
good
how much
position.
different the NFC, or at least the NFL in general, it was from what it is now. If I told you that the Atlanta Falcons were in the NFC West with the St. Louis Rams, the San Francisco 49ers, the New Orleans Saints, and the Carolina Panthers in the NFC West,
Tackles it on the line of scrimmage.
you would have told me I was out of my damn mind. And you would have been right. Except you aren't. Because in 2001, before the realignment of the league, that's exactly where they were. And the Falcons finished a not so great 7-9.
Yard line.
Of course, the Rams went 14-2 that year. They went to the Super Bowl, faced these Patriots, and lost to them in what was considered at the time one of the great upsets in Super Bowl history.
He throws this one away. Incomplete.
The 49ers were 12-4 that year, so they were no slouches either. They were the 5th seed going into the postseason. And then you had the Saints and the Falcons at 7-9, and the lowly Panthers at 1-15,
3rd and 10.
which is kind of where they've been in the vicinity of for the last 4 or 5 years of this decade.
Barely gets it off.
They go to Crumpler on the flat, and he gets immediately knocked
The
down.
Falcons have been frustrated today, both in running and in passing the football. That is a very unhappy coach pacing the sidelines down there.
Moore will punt for the second time.
So Moore will punt it away, and it's going to be a booming punt again.
Punt.
So this one will take at about our 13-yard line.
Catches it. Sutherland.
We barely get back to the 20.
The return.
The Falcons will want to show off their defense early. Get a big stop that'll pump up this crowd.
The Patriots
All right,
have
let's
the
see if we can
ball
get the
after
run
the
game
punt
going here. We got a minute 40 to go in the first quarter. Still no score. And we immediately get sandwiched as that play went absolutely
They
wrong.
hang tough and don't yield an inch. It's all about
None of that
perseverance,
worked the way I
Dan.
hoped
I
it
think they even
would.
got knocked back a bit. What a blow to this offense's morale.
They can't let that stand. Expect them to come back
Second and
strong.
12.
Ball on the 16. It's picked up. Just gets it up. Emmanuel.
Looking for Emmanuel, and I think that got knocked down incomplete.
Off the mark and falls incomplete.
Drew Bledsoe is living on the razor's edge there, Dan. I think it was ill-advised to throw into double coverage like that.
It's now 3rd and 12.
So they're setting up a dime coverage because they got 3 men up front and all defensive backs.
Incomplete.
And they sent the linebackers to blitz. We had the pass off, but incomplete.
The Falcons are showing why a good defense requires every man to do his part, Dan. They're flicking away both receivers and running backs like they were houseflies.
And if you're not giving the quarterback much time to be able to get the ball off, then obviously that's going to make life difficult for everything else to function on the offense.
Has it. 30, 45. Eventually makes the stop, but what a nice return.
The Falcons have a real short field to worry about.
So they got
That's where you
1st
wanna
and 10
start.
in our territory at the 42-yard line.
The Falcons have the ball after the punt and an opportunity to take the lead. The score.
And Vic hasn't really been able to do much either in terms of getting his offense going, which has been helpful to us.
The Falcons.
How was that fumbled? That looked like that was swatted down.
Loose ball under control.
Terrence Mathis must have had eyes in the back.
And
of his
Crumpler
head.
caught it.
That catch. Seriously, how did he do that, Dan?
I know the ball was just a little too far ahead of him, so at just the right moment he makes the extra leap and
Huh.
grabs it.
That was one of
Not
the finer
entirely
touches
sure how
of the
that
game.
worked
It's
out.
all about having good hands.
Well, that's 2nd and 6 for the
Ball on the
Falcons.
38. Delivers a big hit at the line of scrimmage.
And Christian gets pulled down for no
Great
gain.
job sticking to that defense like flypaper.
They ran out of choice and ran out of room and ended up nowhere. It's now 3rd and 6.
So 3rd and 6, and this will probably be the last play of the first quarter.
It's picked up. Caught in the flats.
Oh, they go right to him. Found Jefferson. Touchdown, Atlanta.
A touchdown. After a great catch, it's all about talent and drive on those big plays.
So I was trying to get to Vic for the sack. Pump fakes. I'm right there. Lets the ball go. My defensive back jumped the route trying to pick it off. Couldn't do it. 6 points for Atlanta. Now this is the one thing that irks me about
For the point after.
games like this as well, is that the difficulty, if you ramp it up, never really seems proportional.
There's the kick.
So it's not just that we had Vic almost dead to rights there, and we should have had the sack. But then also he managed to find Jefferson out there on the angle. And I've been trying to do the same thing since we started
Is
this
back to
game,
kick it away.
and have not been able to convert a pass yet. let alone get my run game started. And my run game, if you've been watching this series, is very much the bread and butter of our team.
The return man in his tracks and makes the tackle. It's the end of the
So we're through the first quarter. It's 7-0 Atlanta. It's 1st and 10 for us at our 18-yard line.
0. The Patriots will start this drive just shy of the 20 at the 19-yard line.
So it looks like they're setting up a blitz again as they got linebackers on the edge. 4 guys up front. Well, we made the completion finally. We found Emmanuel, so that's a first down.
They brought on the
And we're
blitz
out of
man,
the
but it
worst
was
part of
no
it because
match
we're
for this
now
tough,
close to midfield.
talented offensive line.
Yeah, shutting down the blitz can be murder, but if you're successful, you're just about guaranteed an open man downfield. Ball on the 36.
And Redmond just cannot get anything going. The gaps that have been there for him
No gain on the play.
in previous games just aren't there anymore.
Ball at the 36-yard line.
And it wasn't that there were huge gaps for him to go through initially.
Out of the backfield.
But I mean, they just plowed right through my offensive line and got a clean shot at him. How he stayed up, I don't know.
Ball on the 39.
So we got to convert here.
Well, as you can
Oh my God, we threw right to him and he couldn't even get near catching it. That's not on Drew. That is completely on the tight end. He absolutely bollocks that. So we're going to have to punt it away again.
Costello lines up, and this will be his 3rd punt of the game. Not much behind this one. 25. Catches it. 45. 15. Pushes him out at the end of the return.
So the 1st and 10 just on our side of the field at the 48-yard line. So now we've got to make sure that Vic doesn't score again.
Falcons are on the field after the punt. They're up 7-0. Escapes out with the stop after
And we go to Christian and he picks up 7.
Bob Christian had a respectable run there, Dan.
He did, and he certainly worked for it, even trying to stiff arm his way past the defenders.
Yeah, that move was a little weak. His stiff arm had all the power of a handful of mashed potatoes.
All at the 42-yard line.
23! Red!
They pick it up. Tosses left.
And he doesn't pick up any yardage there, so it'll be 3rd and short.
3rd and short coming up.
3 yards to go.
It's 3rd and about 3.
So we're going to run I formation.
54!
So
Yellow!
the wide out in motion.
4!
Up the middle. Tackled, but they
See, and he went right through the hole there where I tried to go through the hole with Redmond and got nowhere, and he barreled on through for a first down.
They know they can count on him to make those crucial conversions. Nothing flashy, just good football. 1st and 10.
Down! Dead! Green! 16! Green!
Dodges the defender. Brewski.
So get around behind him, and he only picks up a yard as we have the 2-minute warning. Now we'll get the ball to start the second half.
We've reached the 2-minute warning. The Falcons currently enjoying a slight advantage, but it's anybody's game. 7-0.
But we definitely got to put ourselves in a position where we can put points on the board.
Red! 23!
With one more half of football here, if we can hold them.
The ball was
Oh, and Lawyer had that.
Lawyer Malloy swatted that
Like
one
most
away,
football games,
like
if you
it was
use the
trying to
triangle
sell
or
a
the Y
magazine
button, that allows you to
Yeah,
pick the
he
ball
really showed
off.
good reflexes there, Peter. Not
Now that
giving
I've
the
had two
receiver
guys in a
chance at it.
position
Yeah,
where they
it's all
can
about
either
keeping your
receive
head
a
up and
ball
your
or
eyes sharp when you're
intercept the
playing
ball,
defense.
and they can't do either,
Ball at the 34-yard line.
that adds to my frustration. Interceptions are not easy to get in this game anyway.
Dumps it left.
He's going to be well short of a first down.
Tackle.
So he's 6 of 9 is Vic for 53 yards and a touchdown. This would be a 49-yard field goal if they want to try it. And I think they're going to. So this isn't a gimme, even though we're playing in the dome. 49 yards is not a chip shot. At least not by 2001 standards. It may seem like it now. I think they're going to let the clock just run down here. Give us less time if he misses this field goal. And he pushes it right. At the distance.
The Guardians can't put it through the uprights on a long, long kick.
Those long kicks are so tough because every little technical thing has to be just right.
So we get the ball to start with 1:04 to go on our 39.5-yard line.
Throws middle, incomplete pass.
And how that wasn't pass interference is that was right to him and he got hit as he was catching it. I don't know.
He obviously thought that, you know, he can thread a needle and get to his receiver, but I'll tell you, that is a big risk.
A risk he didn't need to take, in my humble opinion.
Just 1:01 left on the clock.
So 1:01 to go here. And he finds Brown, who was a big weapon for us last week against the Broncos.
Coming and shut it down.
And I'm going to call a timeout here since we got 3 in the bag.
All kinds of possibilities downfield.
Great job.
The Patriots take their first time out and stop the clock. Ball at the 44-yard line.
All right, the crowd in the box with 8 players. And again, we're going nowhere. 6 carries, 2 yards. At this point in the game last week, Gerald Redmond had nearly 100 yards.
Actually, I'd give the whole defense credit, Peter. They all did what they were supposed to, which left room for him to strike. Ball on the 46. From shotgun. Gets it off.
And there's the penalty marker. That'll be pass interference. So we'll take that. Puts us at the 30 and stops the clock.
For playing his receiver too aggressively. You've got to be blocking the pass, not your receiver.
22 seconds on the clock.
All right. He threw it right to Emmanuel, and he couldn't hang on to it.
Emmanuel managed to tip the football, but could not bring it down. It's all about ball control, Dan.
And that we seem to have none of it is really annoying.
The clock is down to 18.
So we got 18 seconds to go.
Incomplete, and that's the second incompletion.
Johnson had it, got hit by 2 backs, and then had to drop it.
Double coverage there. He's got a good arm, but I can't see how he would have made it through.
Yeah, I'll bet he could have found greener pastures elsewhere. The clock is at 15.
So 15 seconds. We're going to have to go to either Johnson or Simmons or Brown here. Depends on who gets open first. And he had it, got hit, and dropped it.
For the way they're clamping down on receivers.
My God, my guys couldn't catch water if they fell out of a boat. So now we're going to have to go for the field goal. This will be a 47-yarder. And I know Vinatieri's got the leg. Right down the barrel, and oh, just short. So we don't get on the board.
Comes away with nothing on that long kick. Man, being a kicker is a tough job.
That was a very long kick, Peter, but I still think he thinks he should have made it. 7 seconds to go.
So 7 seconds. We'll see what they do here.
Barely gets it off.
And it gets swatted down incomplete.
Michael Vick threw into double coverage on that play. Not a smart move.
Nope, he's really fortunate that they didn't pick him up, Peter.
He's fortunate his coach doesn't have him doing push-ups on the sideline.
4 on the game clock.
Yeah, if they're smart, they don't go back to the air on this one. They'll just try to run it.
Caught at the 41. Stiff arm. 45.
Instead, they threw it out on the screen. They got the first down, but that's it. So we're done with 15 or 30 minutes of football. And still 7-0, and we have 0% on third down conversions. We have 2 rushing yards and 33 passing yards. That is terrible.
Stop by the Fan Assistance Table and pick up a free brochure.
So before we get back into this, here's what I want to do now. I want to see what the overall difference is. We're going to set it back to rookie. Going to leave everything else as it is. And just see what the difference is between the two. Because there's still no guarantee we're going to win this game.
Sets up and will take it away to start the third quarter. This will send them deep.
But I think this will be a good litmus test to figure out the differences in difficulty between
Gets it deep.
what they considered standard
Will make the tackle on the return.
and what is actually their medium difficulty.
First down, Patriots.
First and 10.
And this is something that has bothered me about a lot of games for a long time, is that the baked-in difficulty spikes
Keeps the tackle.
can be so drastic
Tackle just
that it really impacts the enjoyability of the player
a gain of 2.
playing the game. It may not seem like it, but it really can.
22-yard line.
Now, it seems like at this point, Atlanta's just got a really stout run defense, which they may well have.
It's upfield. Comes in and makes the tackle.
So it's 3rd and 2.
Has a nice run that puts them in good shape for third down.
2 yards to go.
It's 3rd and 2.
See if we can do a standard slant here. Slants tend to be high value pass plays in situations like this.
Passes middle.
And instead, it gets swatted down incomplete. So Drew is still 2 of 11 for 33 yards. We still have yet to complete a third down conversion.
Costello is ready for his 4th.
And we're having to punt again. You would think this is the 2024 Patriots, the way they're looking, and not the 2001 Patriots.
Christian has it for 30. Comes in and makes the tackle on the return.
A return to 18.
All right, so it's 1st and 10 on Atlanta's 45. They're still leading 7-0. So they haven't run away with it, and the game is not out of reach yet. And Christian barrels ahead
It's a nice tackle.
for 3 yards.
3.
2nd down, 7 yards to go.
All on the 49.
Green! 27! Green!
Passes left. Out on the wing.
And they go to Anderson on the flat again.
Handful of yards.
Jamal Anderson made a fine catch there. The ball was maybe a half step ahead
So
of him.
Bob Christian
Extend his arms
Only played another season with Atlanta. This was his second go with the team.
And keeping the play going. It's 3rd and 2.
He was actually drafted by the Falcons in 1991. Gets tripped up and not getting to the first down marker, so he'll be 4th and 1. He also played for the Chargers, the Bears, the Panthers, and then was with the Falcons from 1997 to the end of his career in 2002.
Gnaw at them every time they go into the huddle.
They gonna punt it? Nope. They're gonna go for it.
They're going for it on 4th and 1.
And they'll get the first down and a bit more. So Christian for his career, I want to say Christensen, was drafted in 1991, 12th round pick, number 310.
Last few feet and the first down.
And he managed only 831 yards rushing in his 11-year career and had 230 receptions for 2,048 yards. So a Hall of Famer he is not. They go to Crumpler out in the flat again.
Alge Crumpler made a great catch there, Dan. That ball found its mark perfectly, with the runner just having to
He's 2nd and 5, and now they're knocking on the door field goal range.
Ball at the 34-yard line. It's picked up.
And he'll throw this one away.
Incomplete. That will bring up 3rd down. Ball on the 34.
So 3rd and 5. See if we can stop him on this play. And Brewski right there with his 5th tackle for the day. And he's sporting a spectacular mullet in that shot.
Down, ensuring that the offense would get no forward progress.
In fact, I don't
Now
think
they're
they
going to
even
go
got
for it
back
on
to the
4th
line
and
of
7, or they're going to
scrimmage,
go for
Peter,
field
and now
goal.
it's 4th down.
Oh, they're going to punt it. I was expecting them to try and go for a field goal here. But that would have been a 52-yarder. So instead they're going to try and pin us back. And we'll let this one roll to the end zone. It'll be another touchback. So we got 41 seconds to go here in the 3rd, and we've got to put some offense together. There's just nothing more to be done.
The Patriots and their defense.
So we got 80 yards to go to tie this ball game up.
Currently they trail 7-0.
We've got a little over a quarter to do it. And we just cannot get any traction at all on the ground.
That is an airtight defense, Dan. They're not letting a wishful thought get past the line of scrimmage.
I think they're even driving them back a bit, Peter. That is great D.
Yeah, you know, it's moments like this that test your resolve. Will this offense rise to the challenge or slink away?
So we pick up a bit. We only gained 4. That'll likely be the last play of the 3rd quarter.
Ball at the 24-yard line. It's the end of the 3rd quarter.
So we got 1 quarter football to go in what is a high-scoring affair. It's still 7-0 Atlanta.
7-0. Ball on the 24.
Oh, and he got sacked. I was waiting for the guys on the right side to break clear of the secondary.
They own the turf war today.
And instead, they just came right in and bull rushed me. By the time I looked down, Hall was already there to get the sack.
Everybody's doing what they're supposed to, and then some.
So we're going to have to punt away for the 5th time today. This is pathetic. Like I said, I was not going to be surprised if we lost at least one game in this series. And Chris is even returning punts now.
The Falcons have got some dream field position there. That really puts the defense on the defensive.
This might very well be it.
7-0.
So Christian just gets back to the line of scrimmage, and now the Falcons are playing for clock. They want to make sure we have no time available to us to try and tie this game up. And that was almost caught. If Mathis had caught that, he was gone. Because I was going for the interception with Buckley, and he, of course, again, could not grab the ball.
3rd and 10.
So 3rd and 10. Just inside midfield at our 45. Oh my God. Malloy fell as they were getting into Jefferson, and of course Vic got the ball away as he got hit. How there's no holding or anything up front, and that the computer just has that little bit of time that I don't seem to have in order to get the pass off before my defensive guys get there. But I was dropped back waiting for the play to unfold, and Drew had no time whatsoever. There was nothing he could do. I could chalk it up to having a really crap offensive line all of a sudden, or Law should have had that for the pick.
Big trouble on that one, Dan. Tossing it away looked like the smart choice to me.
Yeah, I definitely think they would have popped him for the sack otherwise. 2nd and goal.
I'd love to be able to sack Vic, but we're just not getting to him. Atlanta's offensive line is just an absolute wall. They will not allow us to get to him. And now they're knocking on the door of the end zone.
First down, but he ate up a lot of ground. They just need to clean their plate on 3rd down.
I knew the food references.
3rd and goal. Now what sucks even more is with 2:55 to go, it's almost better to have us let them score. But we backed them up. So now the question is, are they going to go for it, or are they going to try and kick the field goal?
Go for the field goal.
Well, it's the smart play, no question about it.
Yep, they're going to go for the field goal. Now my only hope is they can whiff from an absolute chip shot. This is a 23-yarder. 17 yards plus the distance to the goal line. And he got it just inside the uprights in areas. So it's now a 2-possession game as we're closing in on the 2-minute warning, which means we got a strike here.
That's why I would never be a kicker.
And likely do an onside kick, because I don't think we can do a 2-point conversion here. We might be able to. I haven't double-checked the rules for this year.
Stops the return man in his tracks and makes the tackle.
The Patriots are down, but the game's not over. They need to speed up the game tempo and, above all, score.
Tell me something I don't know.
The Patriots will start out at the 25.
Finds Brown near midfield, right at the 2-minute warning. Man, do we need that.
Big yardage, first down. We've reached the 2-minute warning. The Falcons are serving up a shutout, 10-0. It's 1st and 10.
I was looking for Brown again, and this time he couldn't hold on to it again.
Who are playing some of the best football they've ever played.
Ball on the 47.
This time he finds Brown in the middle of a sea of Falcons.
Troy Brown had more interference than a cell phone in the Lincoln Tunnel, but he still managed to make the catch, Dan.
It seemed really risky to throw to him with that much coverage, Peter, but apparently they knew he could get the job done with the right throw.
Oh my God, Emmanuel had it, was right there for first down, dropped it again.
Had a pretty good hunt
How
on
many
that one,
pass
Dan,
drops
but
are we going to
just couldn't
have
make
in
the
this
catch.
game?
I know that's real frustrating when you tip a pass like that, but he's got to make those.
Yes, he does. That he doesn't is really annoying.
Ball at the 37-yard line.
So you got a minute and a half. Oh, he splits the defenders and he's in for the touchdown. Troy Brown and his band of renown.
That catch, pouring on the juice all the way to the end.
And I had to get rid of it because otherwise Bledsoe would have been sacked.
The beginning of the play, not the end of it.
Absolutely. To him, every play's a touchdown until proven otherwise.
All right, so we will go for the extra point. We could have gone for two, but all right, so now we're going to have to try the onside kick. So again, an onside kick is that we've got to get the ball to move at least 10 yards. And the Falcons have recovered it, which means now all they got to do is just kill the clock. I have to use my timeouts to stop them.
That's not the way the ball bounced.
The Falcons will start this drive all the way down at
Onside kicks are always a challenge because if they don't bounce your way, it's almost impossible to recover it. Because an onside kick, the defenders will send out their best players. Oh, that's first down, and that may be a backbreaker right there. Because now they're in field goal range, so if they want to, they can tack on another 3 points.
1 minute, 11 seconds remaining.
And make it nearly impossible for us to mount any sort of a comeback. Not that we are in good shape to do so anyway. What we need is a fumble. Didn't get that. But we forced them into a passing situation, potentially. So we got a plan for the run, but we will be wary of the pass. He didn't get very far. So we'll call our final timeout. They're going to likely try the field goal again. No, they're going to go for it. Oh, it's because it's 3rd and 9. That's why. I was like, wait a minute. How could we be...
It's 3rd and 9.
All right, well, now they can let the clock run down, and they can kick the field goal.
The Falcons. They'll want to extend their lead a little bit and go for the field goal.
Well, it's the smart play, no question about it.
But are they going to do that? They should, but we're just letting the clock run down. So if he hits this, we'll have about 8 seconds. And he's going to miss it. He absolutely whiffed on it. So we got 9 seconds to go. So we're going to have pretty much one shot at this. So we're going to have to do the Hail Mary anyway. It's one other option do we have. And he gets sacked, and that will be the ball game. So sure enough, I was getting back ready to throw it. I hit L to throw it, and that was it. So we have suffered our first loss of the year at the hands of the Atlanta Falcons, 10-7. And that is Sports Saturday for this week. So again, to wrap this one up, when you change the difficulty on games like this, it tends to spike things so much that one of the things they started doing in later games, or in more recent games, I should say, is they started making it a little bit easier to manipulate the difficulty controls. So say if you're having trouble being able to complete passes, you can drop down pass defensive AI. You can, if you're having trouble running, you can save the rush defense AI. If you're not getting interceptions as much as you would hope, you can crank up the possibility of getting those. There's a lot of things that you can individually change now in modern sports games that weren't available 25 years ago when they were making these games. So that is something to bear in mind if you decide to go back and revisit these games, that it's a little bit more than you were expecting it to be. There we go. So I want to exit out. So we're now 8-1. We lost 10-7 to the Falcons. And who are we going to play next week? We are back home hosting the Buffalo Bills. We are back to playing our conference rivals as we are making our way towards the postseason. We're well past the halfway point in this year, and now we don't have to worry about the perfect season, which again, as I said from the jump, wasn't something we were looking to achieve anyway. The Patriots, even though they went 60-0 in the regular season in 2008, we all know what happened in the Super Bowl there. They lost to the Giants, so that was never the goal. The goal is to rebuild a dynasty without its greatest player. So what we're going to do next week is we will see what we do in Buffalo. I don't know if I'm going to tweak the difficulty again just because of what it ended up doing here. If it looks like Buffalo poses enough of a challenge on its own, then we'll go that way. So before we go, of course, be sure to tune into Sucker Punch Sunday tomorrow, where we play a classic fighting platform-based game from the 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th generation. Also be sure to tune into our new playthrough, where we're going back to 1991, and we are playing Super Robot Wars 3, which is a game that was never officially released in the United States, but is one of my favorite franchises of all time. And I gotta tell you, much like NFL 2K2 here, a lot of the innovations that have come in later games in the Super Robot Wars franchise make it a lot more enjoyable to play. I'm still having fun going back and playing Super Robot Wars 3, but oh my god, is it archaic. There's a lot of stuff that we have already come across in episodes we recorded where me and the crew were already like, this stuff wouldn't have happened if we're playing a more recent version of it. But in order to introduce it to you guys, if you're not familiar with it, it helps to go back to the beginning and show you how it got its start, at least on the console side, then as it started to evolve in later years. We're going to play more of those games. I'm just telling you right now. So be prepared for that. But, you know, we at least have to have a starting point like we did with Metal Gear, like we did with the original Legend of Zelda, with Diablo 1. You got to have that point of demarcation and go, okay, now we can move in this direction from here. So, but that'll wrap up the housekeeping for this week. Be sure to follow us on social media through Instagram and Threads at Ronan's Retrocade to help spread the word about us as we continue to build the channel and make it bigger and better. My name is Ronan. It has been great to spend this Sports Saturday with you, despite being on the losing end of this ball game. Be safe, be well, happy gaming. We'll talk to you tomorrow for another edition of Sucker Punch Sunday. Bye.